You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Time to fire up the VCR. This one's my favorite. That was gold.
Welcome to Analog Jones and the Temple Film. I'm Steve.
No, Matt.
And we're a VHS podcast, except when we're not, like right now.
You know, sometimes we just gotta veer off. There's something nerdy in the world that like fits in our brand, and we gotta talk about it anyway.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about one that's controversial, but really, I mean, I don't know if it's controversial with us. I just think it was just a really damn good film that has a really powerful message.
Everybody's telling me that my stand-up's ready for the big clubs.
Joker. Rated R.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Joker a little bit more in depth. If you listen to our Natural Born Killers episode, we talk about it a little bit and talk about the parallels and sort of the timing of us watching this one at the same time as Joker was coming out and the controversy surrounding both. We talk a little bit about that, but we only talk about it for like 15 minutes, so figured we'd devote an entire episode to talking about Joker because kind of it's on everybody's minds right now.
Yeah, so if you've not seen the movie, turn off this podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're going to spoil the shit out of it. Yeah, so we'll get right into it. The odd thing, at first when I heard it was coming out and I hear Todd Phillips' name was attached, the director of Hangover and a bunch of other things, but I found out just now that he did Old School. I had no idea. I don't know Todd Phillips.
I'm actually a pretty big Todd Phillips fan in terms of like the movies. I don't know. He seems kind of like a little bit of a troll in real life, but like maybe that's part of the act or whatever. I don't know. But I like his movies. Road Trip, Old School, Hangover, Due Date, School for Scoundrels, Starsky and Hutch. Like I like his comedies, but we kind of touched upon it in the Natural Born Killers episodes. He does these comedies, but there's always like a really like dark side to all of these comedies. So when they announced that he was going to direct it, I was personally like super excited. I was like, that's your perfect choice. He's coming from comedy. He's got the dark side to him. Let's see him do a dark Joker movie.
Yeah, and I was put off right away because I heard it was an origin story, and I just kind of like roll my eyes to origin stories of characters that we have seen multiple times on screen.
Oh yeah, when they like first announced, before like they even announced like Todd Phillips was doing it and stuff like that, when they said they were gonna do a Joker movie, my first thought was just like, why? Why are we gonna we just had the Jared Leto one like 2 years ago. Why are we doing another Joker thing again? But and then Todd Phillips game announced and I got interested. The trailer came out, it looked good. I mean, anything Batman related, I'm in for. I'm such a Batman fan that like I'll see anything Batman related.
My thing was just like, oh, okay, what are we going to say on the Joker that we don't already know? And to my surprise, this film said a lot on the Joker that maybe I think they're going in their own direction in a way, which I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't just like a rehash of shit, like, oh, okay, the Joker, he came from actually, that's the thing is like when it comes to the origin of the Joker, I don't know anything on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different origins / no origins of the Joker in like the comics and the animated series and the different movies. Part of the Joker is that you don't know where he comes from until you know some of the stories that do tell you his backstory or whatever. But there's so many different versions of it that it's not like Two-Face, where he's the district attorney that gets half his face burned and then he turns crazy. Like that is an origin story we know the story of. Like Joker's always different, so they had room to play around. And yeah, it was kind of cool to see them do this a really smart way of like talking about mental health and talking about where we're at today and violence in culture today, white male terrorism today. Like they took that idea and they said, okay, we're gonna do a Joker movie and we're gonna talk about all this shit. I thought that was a smart move.
And of course, instead of talking about mental health, now we're all talking about how this film will turn you into a criminal.
Yeah, just like people were saying about Natural Born Killers in '94.
We're all going to go out and do crazy shit. And all the people, the downtrodden, the people who are alone in their basement, the trolls are going to come out and do damage.
You know, I think there's no responsibility on the filmmakers or the studio or anything if something were like that to happen, because people like that are going to see what they want to see in a movie anyway.
Yeah, and they're going to take whatever they want from it.
Yeah, if they get in their head that, the new Star Wars movie is going to tell them to go out and kill people, they're going to say that, like whatever they get in their head, they're going to do anyway. So if they're going into that movie thinking, the Joker's me, that's on them. Like the movie is not, in my mind, saying like, hey, white guy who's been down on his luck lately, this one's for you. Let's just go out and kill all the rich dudes,
But Matt, it's so easy to blame a movie, a comic book, or a video game.
Yeah, as opposed to like dealing with the real issues here.
Yeah, instead of reflecting on society or yourself, let's just say, you know what? Fuck it. It's all Tarantino's fault.
Right.
He makes violent movies, therefore that's why this kid right over there is violent.
Right. It's Tarantino.
It's black and white. It's a good, easy point.
Exactly. We grew up during, we were basically like the Columbine generation.
Yes, yeah.
We grew up during that, so,
Marilyn Manson made me shoot people.
Right. Marilyn Manson, Eminem, video games like Grand Theft Auto, Quentin Tarantino movies. These were the things that were ruining us late 90s, early 2000s kids. Like these were the things.
But it was okay for my grandma to cheer against O.J. Simpson and not give a shit about the two people who died in the trial. Sorry, Grandma, I love you. But you sat me down in front of the TV every day to catch up on horrible things, and you just basically, no one said anything about like the two people. I can't even remember their name. There we go. Nicole Brown Simpson and
the other one.
And the other guy. Like, no one fucking mentions them. They were slaughtered, but it's just like, yeah, black versus white, trial, 90s, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Sensationalism. Yeah.
Rinse and repeat. Now we're talking about how we're going to create criminals instead of the message of like, mental health is a real thing, and maybe we should help people.
This movie's saying like, hey, this is what's going to happen if we don't, address this or whatever. And instead of taking it the incel argument or whatever that we're at, but yeah, we don't learn. We had this in the 90s, we had this in the Columbine era, we're having it again now. I think
we had this in the 70s too.
Yeah, the satanic
panic. Yeah.
There's something, though, about now that's different, and we talked about it in Natural Born Killers, and I think it is social media.
Yeah, the one thing Matt and I don't do well is let's point at social media. Point it, blame it all on social media.
And I'm not doing the blame Marilyn Manson on social media. It's just I think it has.
Oh, Marilyn Manson started social media during the satanic panic.
Whoa, it all makes sense. It's all one big. It's all one big picture. Q is in on it.
He was born in the 70s in a Satan pack.
Right.
Then he grew up and he gave us the message, you and I, to kill people.
Right.
Which we did. You got away with it. I just changed identities.
Yes.
And then now you and I are jokers. Mm-hmm. Which I hope we take showers. Because I'm pretty sure the people who play Joker in a lot of the cons don't take showers.
Absolutely not. I've smelled them. They do not take showers. I shower. I showered before this.
Shower multiple times a day.
Yeah. There is something different though now, and I think it has come from social media. I'm not blaming social media, but I'm blaming social media for giving these people who have these problems, and I'm talking about the incels and white male terrorists, these people that have problems already, now they have a space to find other people to encourage their argument. And I think that's why I'm pointing to social media here.
Well, remember, the Joker was pointed at and laughed at, and that's what made him, the mental health issues with her. He was abused in the beginning of his life and everything, and then other people pointed him. Now, the way to cure it in real life is to point at other people and blame them.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
That's where we're also at right now. So it it is different. I think it's different from the Columbine era. I think it's different from the Tarantino era, different from the Satanic Panic.
It is, yeah.
We're in a different, and it is a little scarier. And like watching Joker sort of like in the way, you know, they're showing us, putting up a mirror to what it's like now. Joker kind of like made me feel sick at times. Like just queasy.
Well, what made me feel okay? Let's compare our sicknesses. So do I, and mine was I feel bad that I see this person every day on the street, and I don't know that I could just talk to them. I want to hear their problems. You know what I mean? Like that was my sick. I feel like I've got a pretty cozy life. I got a sweet troll cave. Full of VHSs.
Yeah,
I have
I'm
pretty much.
So sorry that I named it your troll cave.
I have it pretty sweet. I mean, anyone who's surrounded by sweet VHSs, they live a great life.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm living right now.
yeah. But so there are Jokers in the world that are not.
And I'm walking past these people that probably, you know, watch Blu-rays, which is probably the true damage.
Yeah,
Digital.
Let's point to Blu-rays.
Yeah,
Blu-rays are causing terrorism.
Social media and Blu-rays. But to get past the joking, like. Yeah, you know, thank God we're not a comedy podcast. We're just two dudes talking about VHSs.
Yeah.
So now we can talk whatever we want. But, you know, like part of me is just like, damn, man, could I just sit with someone who's alone in a cafeteria and talk to them and like cause them not to flip out and beat their kid? I don't know. I don't know why I went with beat the kid, but I think that's because that's what happened to the Joker in this movie is... I don't know, was it his stepdad? Whoever it was, his mom didn't step in the way and everything. And I think of it that way, and then after a while I have to think, okay, Steve, calm down a little bit. You can't fucking save shit like that. That's just how I felt sick. Now I want to hear you're sick.
Well, the only thing that made me sick, it's not like a one particular like thought like that. It was just like during that sort of section of the movie where he was sort of rising to be finally his final form of the Joker or whatever. It just made me feel sick because it was like, I keep using the phrase like holding a mirror up. It's just like it makes so much sense to me that like this would happen and that this does happen and this happens today. And it's like, yeah, this is what happened to the guy who thought he was the Joker that shot up Aurora, Colorado. You know what I mean? Like this guy felt like this. And it's like, I didn't have the thought like, you know, I want to save them or I could save them. I just felt sick knowing that this is just like the way of the world, and maybe there isn't a way to change it either.
No,
I don't know the way to change it.
I completely disagree with it. It's a white male in shining armor.
This is what it's going to say.
Yeah, I'm completely fucking kidding.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
That's Hollywood's answer, probably.
No, and that's what I grew up on. God damn you, VHS tapes! Now point at them!
Yeah.
So we've got DVDs, Blu-rays, digital media, we've got social media, and now the VHS is behind me. You know what? We're going to run out of fingers.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing the movie's talking about too. Is like where does this all come from? And it's like
it's almost like life is complex.
Yeah, right. It's like there is no answer to this. Yeah, no. So like, and it's funny that like this is a movie. Like this is a movie. This is a movie based on like a DC Comics character, and like just immediately. The first thing we're talking about that we just spent the last 12 minutes talking about is real life. Like society and this movie. And it's crazy. And I think that's one of the things I really like about this movie coming out now is that it is so confrontational and it is so much about today and so much about where we're at today in a very unflinching way. There's no like softness to this movie at all.
What I love about it, and this goes right in what you're saying, is I got out of the theater and I sat in my car for 5 minutes. I wanted to call my friend Terry because he told me call him. And then we had a conversation while I was driving home. By the way, I was driving with both my hands on the wheel, so I was safe there. But I got to cover my ass here. Mm-hmm. Because, you never know.
If it's not true, you just got to say it.
Yeah. I could be a really good politician. No, see, what happened is like I had to think about this because my head was bouncing all over the place. There was this like, wow, that's an amazing performance, but do we reward this performance? Because then you might have people who think then I have to put up with these. I already have to, but I have to put up with all these assholes at a convention that are now going to be the Joker, who smell, and they took off their black hoodie to be the Joker once. Like, Jesus Christ, his hair was fake greasy, not real greasy. So my head is flying, and then I'm like, wow, will this inspire shooters? Oh, wait, no, you know what? Those people were already inspired by something else, so they're just going to find whatever they want. That's how the KKK started and all this shit. And my brain's flying. And then I realized that's what I like about this movie, is it made me think. I didn't just get into my car, drive home, and go, woo, I watched a fun movie. Which, to be honest, to be fair, is what I usually like.
Right.
You know, give me the Will Smith movies.
Right. No, I think this movie is successful, and in that, like, it can make you think like kind of like an art movie, but this movie is not an art movie at all. It's still a Hollywood DC, Joker movie, but it's making you think like, say, if you were to see something like an art house movie. But I would never make the argument that this is an art house movie ever. Like, this is still Hollywood. This is still a Hollywood big budget movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I like so much about it, is that, like, it's not a pretentious art movie, but it's still making you think, and it's still, confrontational. It's still a movie that's taking chances, which you just don't see in movies this big and of this sort of, this is it's a Batman franchise movie, and it's a movie that's like making you think afterwards. Mm-hmm. I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was fun too, because when I talked to my friend Terry after the movie, hands-free, I'm just gonna keep doing that. I actually killed 12 kids. But they were all going to be bad kids.
They were all going to be Jokers, so you did.
So you're welcome. So what happened was he told me the same thing. He had to sit, he didn't go to bed immediately after the movie. And I'm like, you know what? This is great. He also brought up another good point. He's like, well, I guarantee you no one's going to talk about the, problems in mental health. It's all going to be like, how many white kids are going to shoot up shit?
Yeah.
And yeah, he was probably right. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we all realize, but I don't believe in society that much.
Yeah, my hope would be that somebody that would go to this movie to shoot up a theater would see the movie and be like, fuck. Like this movie maybe would change their mind, I would hope. I don't know, because it is so confrontational and so in your face about it.
I mean, to look at it, like when the I don't know, his psychiatrist, they get the funds cut.
Yeah.
And it's such a great scene because you look at two different perspectives. You had one where he's like, I come here every week and you don't listen to me. You don't know. I just told you I've never had a happy day in my life, or whatever he said. I think it was something like that. And then she looks at him with like just this super serious look. She's like, you're no longer going to get your drugs. We've lost all funding.
Yeah.
Where like you then have to look at her perspective. She's like, I see you, not just you, but a person like you several times every day. And now I have to tell all of you, none of you are going to get help from me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's speaking the volumes about where we're at. We're at again. With the government funding getting cut and stuff.
There's a lot of scenes in this movie that stuck to me. But that one where I had to stop and be like, yeah, Arthur, you're right. She's not listening to you, and that sucks. But at the same time, look at her perspective. She's fucking seeing dozens of people a day. Who knows how many?
Yeah.
And all these people need these drugs because they need more help, but at least I can give them drugs to help them to take, I don't know, whatever it does, but she now has to tell these people that are just coming in that can't afford any of this, can't afford therapy, can't afford drugs. I have to now tell all of them, bye.
Yep.
And then when he said and then Joker's like Arthur's good line is just like, well, who do I talk to now? And it cuts.
And that's it. There's just no answer to that. Like,
sorry, buddy, figure it out on your own. But I guarantee a politician's going to be like, we've got to help people with mental illness. That same fucking politician will go back and cut
the funding, right? Yeah, no, and there's so many of scenes like that are, a little bit of telling instead of showing or whatever, but like I think they need to be there, because of the confrontational nature of the movie or whatever. I think one of the weaker spots for me that does this again is the back and forth between Robert De Niro and now he has gone full Joker during the talk show segment near the end of the film. where sort of Joker lays out the plot, I guess, of the movie as they're going back and forth, and like De Niro's interviewing him right after he admits that he's the person that killed the people on the subway. I thought that scene was kind of weak because it was so telly. You know, it's sort of force-feeding its view.
What was the blunt object at the end of the movie? Do you know what I mean? Like, they were being kind of coy with the rest of it. They were showing it. They weren't telling you. That was the first part in the movie where they flat out told you.
Yeah, there was and I liked so much more the other stuff than that scene, and there was a lot of exposition drops and stuff like that in that scene. So I wasn't crazy about that, but the movie does kind of oscillate between that because there's like the pill scene and everything, and then that scene later on.
No, I thought it was funny too. Because I thought the exact same thing because I'm like Robert Downey Jr. Damn it! We just did Natural Born Killers. Robert De Niro's in there. I assume because obviously there's so much influence from Taxi Driver
And King of Comedy too.
Yeah. Which part of me kind of. I didn't roll my eyes in this because I felt like this movie did enough of its own, except when they were doing the point the gun at your head.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe a little too much on the nose of Taxi Driver. But, I thought it was interesting, but I think you're right. I think that was the first point in the movie where it was so blunt. But was that on purpose?
Oh, I'm sure it was. It was maybe just more me not liking that choice versus it being a bad choice.
No. I almost
maybe a good choice, but I just didn't.
I'm pretty sure that's the only scene in the movie where I rolled my eyes.
Yeah,
where he just goes, he says just like, "What do you think will happen to people like me when the society, And like a part of me rolled my eyes, but part of me was just like, I think it was good because like one of my favorite lines from Heath Ledger's Joker was just like, I kill a pimp or whatever, and society doesn't blink an eye, or I tell them a soldier dies, nothing. But if I kill one little bitty mayor, everyone just loses their mind.
Yeah.
And with Heath Ledger's or Phoenix's Joker, it was more like, what the fuck do you think's gonna happen when you do all this shit?
Yeah.
You like if I died in the middle of the street, you would step over my body. But if 3 Wall Street, people that Mr. Wayne loves dies, he basically just said, then that's when people have a problem.
Yeah.
And like I think you have to do that with a good Joker. Like you have to explain that he's trying to he wants the anarchy because the real world didn't work for him.
Yeah.
But the anarchy, I don't think it really works for him either, but at least he gets to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that's the quintessential Joker. It's like society has failed. We all know that. Mm-hmm. But Joker thinks anarchy is the thing that's going to work, and it doesn't. He's still a bad guy, but he doesn't care. He's just like, fuck it. Like, it's fun for me to watch then, at least. Anarchy doesn't work, but at least I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the Joker. That's the character.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like some people just want to watch the world burn.
Mm-hmm. And that's always supposed to be the Joker.
Yeah, and it's fun, too, because, Batman wants such structure.
Right.
Even though Batman's really fucked up, too.
Right. Yeah, and then the other thing that I didn't like at all in this movie, we've already covered spoilers, so is the Batman Bruce Wayne origin story that gets shoehorned into the end of the movie, which I thought kind of took the wind out of the sails of the kind of cool moment that was happening at the end of the movie. And then you sort of have the Batman origin story again for the 1,000th time on film kind of tacked in there as well.
Well,
I think that scene
I
would
wouldn't
have been so much stronger. Just cut that out. Cut that section out.
What I would have liked, see what you think about this, is instead of showing the whole scene again with the pearls and yada yada.
Yep.
Which, by the way, we told you spoilers. So if you haven't seen this, like his parents died just like they did in the Tim Burton one.
Yeah.
All right. We told you. Your fault. So what I would have liked is if you would have saw little Bruce and the 2 parents just walk down the hallway and then had the Joker, like the fake Joker, follow him. I'd have been done with that because I actually kind of wanted the movie to end cut to have maybe a studio wouldn't let this happen. I don't know, but just end cut with him dancing on the cars where he's like getting his time and the true, what all these people are reacting to what he's always wanted. So I but then they cut to him in the Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, they do the Cuckoo's Nest in. I actually like the ending we got because like after it kept going, after sort of like the big, they pan out and it's him standing on a car among the sea of people, the Ace in the Hole poster in the background. And so like it was great. It could have been a great end shot, but like, and I was like, oh, well, why did they keep going? But then I sort of liked how they ended it, where like he's in Arkham Asylum, but he's pretty much in charge at Arkham Asylum. Like he's running the place.
He's a celebrity there.
Yeah, exactly. And he's running around and he's causing chaos there. I kind of like that ending because it's like, that's a have your cake and eat it too ending. Yeah, he's in Arkham Asylum, but he runs the place. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's a good point.
Like that.
Yeah.
I like that ending actually.
I went back and forth with it. I was like, it would have been fun to see just cut out with him dancing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I did like to know, because I knew that was Arkham Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was fun. Yeah, I forget that this is a Batman. Like there's points in the film where I forgot.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real credit to it.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite scenes is the scene where the guy who kind of helped get him fired. Because there's so much that sets off the Joker, where his mom lies about Bruce Wayne's father.
Maybe. That's what I'm.
We don't know because it's all over the place.
Like he's such the Thomas Wayne in this movie is such a scumbag.
But he's also looking at the records that said adoption papers.
But then the mom says that he faked it, and he does have enough money and power where he could.
I know. I caught that too.
I like the fact that we don't know for sure.
Yeah. But going into it, when so all this stuff that sets him off, and one of them was a guy gives Arnold a gun, and then he's just like, you're like my little boy, or he says you're like my guy, or something like that.
Yeah.
And Arnie is always searching for Arnold is always searching for a father in multiple people. He did it in Robert De Niro's character. He did it in the guy he works with. He does it with Bruce Wayne's father, whether it is his biological father or not.
You're right.
We don't know. Very gray there with that. Kind of cool. But a lot of things. And he gets him fired because he basically says, oh, no, he told the cops or his boss that Arnold was trying to buy a gun for him. And that sets it off. So after they find out that his mom has died, the little person and the big guy, who kind of was like a father figure to him, come over, and he takes his scissors and stabs him in the knife in the eye. That was brutal.
Yeah, this is a brutal scene. But also then hilarious, like when the guy's just trying to get out, and he's like messing with him, like it's.
Well, it was an accident.
It was a good exercise in dark comedy there.
Yeah, that is Todd Phillips right there at his finest.
Yeah,
where he locked the door, the little chain at the top, which if you're in a city like we are, every door has.
Yeah.
So he locks it, and the little guy, because he's like, I don't know the character's name. I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So we're going to have to say little person. He tries to run out because Arnold said, oh, I'm not going to hurt you. You can leave. But then he can't get the chain because he's not tall enough to grab the chain. And he walks over to him and he kisses him on top of the head because you're really uncomfortable. You're like, is he going to murder him anyway?
Yeah. You don't know. You have no idea.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, and he also scared. Remember when he's going towards the door, he scares him. He's like, I'm just messing with you. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And so he unlocks the door and lets him run away. But one of the whole points was I'm not going to hurt you, man. You're the only one who was ever nice to me there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the be nice to the guy at the office, argument. Yeah. Before he shoots up the place type thing. Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that scene. That was a good scene in the movie. I think we should just talk about for just a second what everybody else is talking about, but I think we should touch upon it too. Just Joaquin Phoenix in general in this movie is really good. Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. There's just not going to be any argument, I don't think, here. If there starts to be Oscar talk, which I people are saying now, yeah, but I think by the time we get to February,
they might forget.
They might forget, or it might be too controversial.
I don't
be too dark.
I don't care. This is going to be one of mine where I remember this performance.
This is usually us, especially our podcast,
our genre people. Yeah.
Well, we're also pretty we'll call out sort of if somebody's oh, this is a great performance, and if. In our podcast, you might hear us be like, "Are you sure?" But this time, I gotta say, it's a pretty fucking good performance.
Genre films are changing now, and I remember thinking, I think I even called it when I was with you guys, like, Key and Peele's. I just forgot the name of the movie.
Get Out.
I said no, he won't win it. I remember because I was like, no, it's just not going to happen. There's going to be this build up, and whoever these fucking old voters are, they're going to say no to it in the end, and he actually did.
He won,
and it surprised me.
Yeah,
and it's a win for genre horror, action, sci-fi, and I know it's just horror in this one. Because, everyone wants to belittle horror and just call it psychological thriller.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, you know what? Silence of the Lambs is a fucking horror film.
Yeah.
All right? And they refuse to call it a horror film.
Yeah. I would make the argument any day, especially just as a horror fan. I would happily make the argument that I think that Joker is a horror film. Through and through. It's a horror film.
Yeah.
Because... I think,
It came out in October 1.
Yeah. I think with, Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, they are slow descent into madness. Those are thrillers. Those are dramas. This is still a thriller and drama, but this is it within the movie, within the structure of the movie, the Joker turns kind of into the Joker we know fairly quickly. Not so much the makeup and all that, but the Wall Street guys get shot pretty early on in the film. And I would say then you're kind of watching him be a monster for that whole, I guess, second half or last hour, whatever, last hour, 15 minutes, whatever, which I think makes this a horror movie.
Yeah, I think Taxi Driver is a horror movie too. I always, Taxi Driver to me, always just like, no, he turns into a monster.
In the last 15 minutes.
I see.
He's being bad.
He fully.
Throughout.
I see what you're saying.
But yes, the fully formed monster is until the last 15 minutes.
But
which is definitely a horror scene with the blowing off of the hand and stuff. It's a horror scene for sure. But this movie, more so than a Taxi Driver or King of Comedy, which is another slow descent into madness movie. This one feels like a horror thing because it's. Pretty early on, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, he's a monster quick. They show their monster fast.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference there.
Yeah, I mean, when he kills his mom, that's when he's over. He's done. The real Arnold is gone. Arthur. Damn it! I keep saying Arnold.
Are you thinking of Arnie and Christine? Because it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah. Yes.
The picked on nerd who becomes a monster.
I just I don't know. I like the name Arnie. I like to say Arnie.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
But yeah, he slowly descends. That's really funny too with Christine. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But they show their monster quick, which I'm okay with because his monster doesn't fully I don't know. He kills those guys. I don't know. Now I'm confused. I really don't know. I mean, is he a monster right on the subway, or was that just him being reactionary?
I think it has all led to that, and that is instead of being the moment where he might turn into a bad guy and it was an accident or whatever. I think he was there. That was it. That was the final straw. I am the bad guy now. That's what I got from him. But I feel like people can interpret it the other way too.
Yeah.
But that's why I think it's a horror movie.
Well, I'm wondering because the way that he kept looking at the newspapers is that when he was, but he did, oh man, that subway scene is deep because first he's reactionary, but then he chases down the guy and executes him.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a last straw moment. I think it's sort of like the end scene of Taxi Driver where he just fully snaps, but 45 minutes into this movie as opposed to the end scene. And I don't know. That's how I took it as in putting it into a genre box. That's what I saw it as.
Well, and all his, doing air quotes, all of his father figures die in this. You have Wayne's dad, I really wish I knew Wayne's dad's.
Thomas Wayne?
Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne dies. The other clown guy dies. And then he kills the show host, which is clearly being Ed Sullivan or something.
Yeah, he's doing a Johnny Carson,
Ed Sullivan,
King of Comedy
King
type
of
thing.
Comedy, yeah.
He's doing that bit, but That was another scene that kind of made me feel sick because it reminded me of, and I'm sure this is exactly what they were going for, but remember in the 70s, we weren't alive then, but we've heard about it.
Or
when the news,
were we?
Or were we? Remember when the newscaster shot himself on live TV? That's what that moment felt like in this movie. Because it was part of this live late night show or whatever. You got the movie is almost setting up like Joker's going to kill himself. When he's on, and then he ends up shooting Robert De Niro.
Specifically, do that because he's practicing the knock knock joke,
and he's going to shoot himself.
Yeah.
But I got that kind of sick, twisted vibe from that clip of that guy from the 70s TV show, the 70s newscaster who shoots himself on live TV or whatever. That's the vibe I got from that.
Well, even though I was pretty sure he was going to kill the Robert De Niro's character. Still, when they did it, when the Joker shoots him, it still shocked me.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. And then he shoots him like, what, 2 or 3 more?
Yeah, shoots him again. He's clearly dead. Like, he shoots him in the head, but then he just keeps shooting him.
Yeah, because he's the Joker.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the film made me feel a lot of feelings, made me do a lot of thinking.
I like too when like Joker kills him and he takes the camera and he's gonna say his big line. It also cuts out there too, and I think that's just the most chaotic Joker thing that could happen in that scene too. So it's a nice encapsulation of the movie there.
Yeah. I love it.
One other point I wanted to make, and this is maybe talking to sort of the film nerds and things like that on the internet. They've been saying, you brought it up briefly, the Taxi Driver knockoff or the King of Comedy connections or whatever. Very, very Scorsese. I will give this movie credit in that like it takes the elements of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy with Robert De Niro and the slow descent and the madness and stuff. But this doesn't feel like a Scorsese movie at all to me. This feels like its own beast. Like it is not.
Yeah.
It's doing the kind of thing inspired by those movies, but it doesn't have like a Scorsese look. It doesn't have a Scorsese feel at all. It's dirtier. It's grimier. This is a movie trying to make you feel sick. Whereas like Taxi Driver is more of a prestigious movie. This is almost just like grimy. Like this Joker doesn't care if it's prestigious or not.
Well, I mean, this version of Gotham is the dirtiest I've ever seen it. I mean, even they're having a trash strike.
Yeah.
So the entire Gotham City is filled with trash.
Yeah. They've purposely chosen like that Hell's Kitchen, New York feel to it.
No one's
70s
nothing,
New York.
Nothing is clean.
Yeah, everything's dirty and gross. I don't know. I just thought it was different. So I wanted to kind of make that argument that, like they're borrowing elements of Scorsese, but not doing a Scorsese movie.
No, I thought this film completely stands on its own. The performance, the Joker, even though it's clearly a madness Joker like Heath Ledger's, this is its own Joker completely.
Yeah, it's totally doing its own thing. It even takes a little bit with that ending of like the other guy in the Joker mask killing Bruce Wayne's parents, taking an element that the comic books and the show Gotham did really well, where the Joker is an idea and not a person. It may be represented by a person, but the idea of the Joker is more, that the Joker is all of these bad people. You know what I mean? And it was the first film that I've seen kind of do that. I've seen it in Gotham, I've seen it in the comics, but it was cool to see represented here too, a little bit with that ending.
No, I thought there was so much in this film that I liked. Very, very little that, like at the end where it punches you in the face with the message. Very few of that, I think this will easily be one of my most memorable movies of the year. Yeah.
And it's funny, like, I got back home from the movie, and Ashley asked me, she goes, did you like the movie? And I went, I don't know. I have to, like, think about it. And the fact that I had to, like, sit and think about it is kind of nice. I do have some problems with it. I thought kind of like the fake out with Zazie Beetz being the girlfriend, but really she's not real. We talked about it before we aired or whatever. We kind of both saw it coming, and I don't mind that I saw it coming. I just don't think it needed to be there at all. I kind of wish that wasn't really a part of it. I just liked him being maybe more a creep, and just like shows up in her apartment one day. I would have liked to have seen that. I think some of the movie early on is a little choppy, but I think that's just maybe finding its footing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, the fact that like there's so much to it and there's so much to talk about and there's so much that I had to think about and there's so much more than I'm going to think about as I go see this movie. I'm not going to go to the theater and see it anymore, but as I watch it on DVD again or whatever later, it's sticking around. It's sticking around in my brain. So I clearly really like this movie. I have problems with it, but I clearly like it.
Yeah, I think that'll pretty much do it. I don't really have much more to say. I think you need to see it. Well, hopefully you've seen it if you listen to this. Yeah. We just ruined the whole damn movie.
We just told you everything that happens in it.
But yeah, I hope Warner Brothers keeps going down this path of really just finding their own. Because I think, or I should say with DC, Warner Brothers, they're just... We talked about this when we... before we did this podcast. It's like when Warner Brothers and DC fucks up a movie, they really fuck it up.
But when they hit one out of the park, they really hit one out of the park.
Yeah. So it's, but find your footing. It would be fun to actually see what they can do. Maybe not go so dark with every movie, because I don't think every movie in this needs to be that dark, because the Joker is fucking dark. But that doesn't mean a Superman movie should be dark.
Right. Yeah. No, I think if they keep this path, DC will find its footing, because the movie they did before this was Shazam, right? And I liked Shazam. I thought it was super cute. Like, you pick your tone for your movie. Like, that's, this Joker needed to be super dark. Shazam needed to be super light. And I liked both of those movies, I think if you just sort of pick your vision and stick with it and not be the muddled thing that the Justice League and everything before that kind of was.
Oh, Batman v Superman and Suicide Squads. Oh, I can't stand them.
They're bad movies. They're real bad movies.
Can't even rewatch them. But that will end it for this week. If we're going to put something in the museum, you figured out. I think it's obvious.
We like the movie.
Yeah. Put most of it in there. I will say one thing. I really like the simplicity of the Joker's look.
Yep.
Very handmade.
Classic Joker look. It was Joker. You know what I mean? It was unmistakably Joker, but it didn't need to have any bells and whistles.
It wasn't the whole purple. It was more of like a maroon.
Yep.
I thought that was, I like that. There's just like a different version of Joker you could do.
Yeah, the green hair was just like shitty Halloween store dye, and like...
That will probably wash out after 2 showers.
Right, and like the makeup was something, he clearly could have done. Yeah, I like that about it. After coming off of fucking gangster Hot Topic Joker from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Very nice. I like this a lot more.
All right, that'll end it. You can get us on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, whatever it is. You can figure it out. You can also go on our Facebook, even though we won't reply.
Hey, we reply.
We reply.
Nobody writes. Nobody writes on there.
Nobody writes.
If people wrote on there, we reply all the time. But we're the only ones that post. You're the only one that posts on there.
Yeah, I know.
I just comment on the things you post.
And then we get a shit ton of comments that I can't stand on YouTube. Post the movie. No, that's not how this works.
That's hilarious.
All right. Remember to... we don't do that. All right, bye.
See you later.
See ya. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for coming to the movies with us.
Boy.